In this lecture, we are going to talk about how can we relate the codes of an object-oriented programming language platform like Python with the codes that we study, that we make use of on code.org platform for creating a particular application. So this is going to be a very important lecture for each and every one of you who want to become a successful coder. And besides, if you want to enjoy the coding classes which I am offering to the students now, you guys are most welcome to avail the facility of those coding classes. You just have to ask your parents to contact me on my phone number 9891665634. Without wasting any time, let's move on to that lecture in which I am telling my students how to relate the codes of Python language with the codes that we make use of on code.org.
Hello.
Aranya, is now my screen visible to you? This
Yes,
Python
now
platform.
I can see.
Yeah, so this is
Actually,
Python.
in my room I can't access the internet perfectly.
Okay.
And I was
Maybe
in my
because
room. That's
so the way we can create a list type of variable on this JavaScript script platform is like this. So we need to declare the variable first. Okay, and after that we can write it down like this. We need to place these brackets in front of this variable that we have defined over here. So the first thing that
yes.
we need is declaration. Fine. So we need, if we are working on a particular variable, if you are making use of a variable for making a particular app on this JavaScript platform, we need to declare it first, and after that we can initialize it with something. So this is a way we can declare a list kind of variable. Fine. Now, if we want to make use of a variable on this Python platform, we don't have to declare that variable. We can simply name it like this. Okay, we don't require to declare it. Now, if suppose you want to create a list type of variable on this Python platform, what you have to do, you need the same brackets. Okay, you need to make use of the same brackets, the one that we make use of here on this JavaScript platform. And then inside this, you can, you can define the items you would like to store in this list type of variables. Now, you guys have to tell me if I will write down something like this. And if I will hit enter, will this platform accept this kind of input, or it is going to throw an error?
Sir, I think it is going to. I don't know.
Arnav, will it throw an error or is going to accept this input? Let me just show it to you practically. So okay, we have come across an error. Now, why this error is getting reflected over here? So, you need to relate the concept of these things with the one, that we have studied on this JavaScript platform, with the concept of the JavaScript platform. Let me show it to you. Why this error message is getting reflected over here? It's just because you guys remember, in one of the lectures, I told you how can you create a table on this browser. You guys just have to define a name over here. Let's define a name. Let's say result. Okay, let's hit this add button. That's how you can create a table on this data browser connected to this app. Now here you can name, you can create the columns over here. The first one, let it be name. Okay, and the second one that I need is for the score. Fine. Now if I will enter my name over here and my score over here. So if I will hit this add row button, see, I am getting an error. Why am I getting an error?
Because we haven't put these strings.
We haven't enclosed this in between double inverted commas. Am I right, dear?
Yes.
Because
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so this is what is written over here. Make sure to include quotes for strings like this. Okay, so we need to enclose it in double inverted commas. Now, if you will hit this add row button, automatically the records are going to get added to the table which you have created. Similarly, if you'll come on this Python platform and copy this whole thing and put it over here, and there are three items which I have defined over here in this list X. So one is this, second one is this one, and the third one is this one. Now if you will hit enter button, it is going to accept the input. Are you getting my point here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, try and relate the things. Then only you will be able to understand the concept of OOPS, object oriented programming language. Fine. Now, if suppose you want to access any of the items which we have got in this list, so how can you do that? In order to access the items, we can make use of the index number. How? See, if you will write down something like this, print x, and then if you'll write down 2, can you tell me what is this going to give us? Print x2. What is this going to give us?
Sir, I think it is going to print X two times.
This is what it is giving us in the output
Oh,
file.
I know.
You know
And if
why?
we'll put one, it will give my name, and if we'll put zero, it will give your name.
Absolutely correct. Arnav, are you getting this point here?
Yes, sir.
You know why it is doing so? It is just because, just a second. It is just because the index of this item is 0. The index number of this item is 1 and the index number of this item is 2.
Two.
So it is 0, 1, 2. Now if I will put minus 1 here, can you tell me what is the output I am going to get?
Sir,
I will,
I I think it is going to give an error.
it is going to give us an error. Pakka, are you sure about it?
Sir, I think I am not sure.
Chalo, let's check out the output. Why it is giving us this output here? It
I
is not.
don't know.
It's because if you are giving a negative index, if you are defining a negative index over here, so it is going to start. It is going to start its counting from this end, from the right side. And if you are defining a positive index, it is going to start the counting from this end. It is going to start counting the items from this side. Are you getting my point here?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if you will pass this thing, if you will pass 3 over here, so this is what you'll get as an output. Fine. Now, if you will, let's say if we'll pass minus 4, what are we going to get? So we will get nothing. Why? Sorry, it's an indentation error. Just a second.
Because
Let me.
it's we haven't put index that has four in,
So
like.
this is what you are going to get. List index out of range, because there is nothing on this index number minus 4 in this list box. That is the reason it is giving us
Yes.
this error. I now, is this thing clear to every one of you? Sorry, to both of you. Now, what is
Yes,
the
sir.
length of this list? What is
Sir,
the
I
length of? Yes, please go
think
ahead. You.
two. See?
Length is 3.
I I
Why
thought
it is 3?
it
This
because
is
there are
what
three
this
things
is
in it.
dear. This is what I was trying to explain you in the previous lecture. The index starts from 0. Okay, but if you will count the number of items, it is going to give you the length of that list. Now
Okay.
it is clear. So now
Now I
let's come back on this code, okay, which we defined for getting the message, for receiving the message. Now here what is happening? When will the condition become false? See, I is equal to 0. What is the name of the table from which it is fetching the output? It is fetching the output from these kind of tables, right? So here the
yes, sir.
length, what is the length of this table? Arnav, what is the length of this table, dear?
Sir, this table or this column?
You column or table or row. What is the
Okay.
what is the length of this? What is the length of the records which are there in this table?
One, sir.
One, absolutely correct. See, there are number of items in this list are three. So
Three.
that is the reason length of this list is three. Okay. Number of
Hmm.
items or number of records that we have got inside this table, it is equal to one. There is only one record present in this table. No? So that is the reason
Yes.
we'll say that the length of the records of this table or the length of this table is equal to one. Is this clear?
Okay.
Okay, now what is the index number of this record which is getting reflected over here on your screens? What is the index number of this record?
Sir, I think two.
Beta, what is the index
No.
number of this
It's,
first record which is getting reflected over
sir,
here?
zero, zero, zero.
Zero. So what is the index number of this record? This first
Oh,
record which
zero, zero, zero.
absolutely correct. It is zero. Simple. Now, if suppose if I'll ask you that what is the index number of this record? What is the index number of
Sir,
this record? Which I have highlighted.
sir, zero.
It is not zero, dear. This record is present on fourth
Four.
I. It is fourth
Oh,
ID, right?
sir, three.
Absolutely correct. The index number is equal to 3. That's why I have written on that day that index is equal to ID minus 1. Whatever the ID against which a particular record is getting reflected inside
Okay.
this table, you have to subtract 1 from that ID in order to fetch that record. Okay, in order to get the index number of that record on which that particular record is present. That is the reason why we are subtracting 1 from here. Okay, in order to fetch that record. Is this thing now clear to both of you why this minus
Yes.
1 we have written over here?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
this is a process how you can relate these two languages with each other. Fine. If you will not understand the basic things, you will not be able to do the Python programming. Remember this thing. Okay, so instead of focusing on these blocks or these imaginary things, try and focus on the coding part. These are the basic things which I'm teaching you. But if you need to understand each and everything, why we have used this for, what is this doing over here, what is this thing doing over here, what is this, it is increment and decrement operator. In one of the lectures I have told you about this for loop, I think. Let me
Yes.
just tell you one more time about this. uh, See, if suppose we have got a list, let me close this Python platform and open a new one. Okay, if suppose we have got a list inside which we have uh, 4 or 5 different items: mango, banana, then cherry.
Sir, double inverted comma.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, is there anything else I can add?
Sir,
Mango,
apple.
banana, apple. Okay, apple. Okay, if now there are 4 different items which are present in this list X. Okay, if I will run now a loop like this for X, for Y in X, means I'm using a variable over here Y in order to travel along this whole list. Okay, in order to fetch the items of this list. Just a second. Why it is giving us an error? Can you tell me why it is giving us this
Sir,
invalid
because
syntax
we
error?
haven't declared the variable
No,
y.
dear, we don't need to. We don't have to declare the variables on this Python platform. We are not required to declare. There's no
Sir, what
requirement
is
of
a
declaring the variable.
syntax?
Syntax error. It is through that. This is the thing that you need to focus on right now. What is the kind of error this Python platform is reflecting right now? Here, it is invalid syntax. So I have made some mistake in defining the syntax. Whenever you're using a loop, you need to place a colon after that. Wherever this statement is ending, you need to place a colon after that. And now when you press enter, it will not give you this error anymore. Let's print the value of y. Can you guess what are we going to get as an output?
Edad.
What are we going to get as an output?
Edad.
Error. See, this is what we are going to get as an out. This is what we are getting as an output. Now, why we are getting this as an output? Because initially the value of y is 0. If we are using a for loop, so initially the value of y will be equal to 0. So 0 in x. What is the name of the item which is there on index number 0 in this list x? It is mango.
Sir, mango.
So that is the reason the value of y is going to get changed to mango, and mango will be printed over here. Similarly, now the value will increment by 1. So from 0 it will become 1, and now the value of y will become equal to the item name of the item which we have got in this list on index number 1. So what do we have on index number 1? It is banana. So that's the reason it is going to print banana in the output part. Similarly, again when the when this compiler is going to come on this line, the value of y is again going to get incremented by 1. Okay, now it will become 2. And what do we have on index number 2 in this list x? It is cherry. That's what is happening here also in this for loop. If you will see here, we have declared the variable. Here we are checking a condition. So this is a condition part, y in x, y in x. So this is equal to this condition over here. I plus plus, value of I is getting incremented over here. Similarly, value of y is also getting incremented in this for loop. Okay, the only difference is the only difference between JavaScript coding, this code over here, and this one that we have defined on this Python platform is syntax of this for loop is different from that of this for loop that we have got on this JavaScript platform. This is the only difference. Rest everything is same. Okay, it is helping us in traversing this whole list that we have got inside this table users, and it is helping us in checking out the items which we have got inside this list x. Okay, so this is how try and relate the things. Now let's check out the code that we have defined over here, whether it is working fine or not. So I'm going to copy this link and open it up in 2 different tabs.
Sir, can you show the code once again?
Yes dear,
The
just a second. This is the code.
okay. So, sir, that the I minus one I told you, is it correct?
Yeah, this is perfectly fine. But what is the logic? You need to know the logic also, na dear. You are not able to tell me the logic why -1 you have placed over here. Okay. Let's now. Do we have any table on this browser? Okay, I'm deleting all the 4 tables first because I am going to create 3 new profiles. Let's create 3 new profiles, huh? And then we are going to check this code we have defined in the workspace. So we need to select the images through this photo select block. Okay, I'm selecting this one, and here I am Arnav. I'm making your profile first. Arnav@gmail.com and Arnav123.
Now@gmail.com, your account has been successfully created.
Okay, Arnav, so your account has got successfully created. Your ID is getting reflected over here. Fine. Now, Laranya, I am creating your profile here. laranya@gmail.com. Laranya123.
Sir, yes. Sir, yes.
Now
Hilarania@gmail.com. Your account has been successfully created.
now I'm going to create my own profile.
Hilarab@gmail.com. Your account has been successful.
Okay, so here is my profile, and now let's see whether I'll be able to fetch the IDs of Arnav and my own here in this Arnav's profile or not. So I'm able to fetch both the IDs. Laranya's also and Gaurav's also on Arnav's profile. In this Laranya's profile, I'm able to fetch the IDs of Gaurav and Arnav. And here on my own profile, I am able to see Arnav's and Laranya's ID. Now let's do one thing. Let's send a message from Arnav's ID to Laranya. Hi Laranya, how was the coding class today? Okay, let's now send it to Laranya. And
Arnav@gmail.com. Your message was sent to Hilarania@gmail.com.
okay, the code of this button is working perfectly fine. Let's come on this part and let's receive the message from sent by Arnav. Select Arnav's ID from this drop down first, and let's set this image button.
Hi, Larania. How was the coding class today?
Okay, so the code is working perfectly fine. Now let's send a message from Laranya's ID to Arnav. It was great as always. So this is what I'm typing over here. Let's send a message to Arnav.
Larania@gmail.com. Your message was sent successfully to Arnav@gmail.com.
Whether Arnav will be able to receive this message or not, let's check it out.
Hi, Arnav. It was great as always.
Okay, now let's send one more message to Laranya using Arnav's ID.
Sir, now you can select the language and version also.
I will do that. I will do that, dear. I haven't, defined the coding for these two buttons, so I will be defining it now. What was the homework given by the teacher?
Your message was sent successfully to Larania@gmail.com.
Let's see whether Laranya will be able to receive the message or not.
What was the homework given by the teacher?
So you see, the previous message didn't get repeated. The only thing which I was able to hear is the recently sent message, the message which Arnav sent recently. Okay, so this is how we have coded this app. Now let's see how can we customize these two fields over here using this drop down. Fine, and the languages which you are seeing over here in the drop down part, in the options part of this drop down, where have I got these languages, names of these languages from? So I need to convert it back into block based coding. And here, if you will click over here on this drop down, you'll be able to see two different options, female and male. Fine, so this drop down I'm going to use for customizing the input for this particular drop down. How can we do that? So first of all, we need to add the two options in this version field. So they are already there. Okay. Fine. So I am going to make use of. Can you guys tell me what is a block which I can make use of for customizing these two fields?
Sir, get text.
Absolutely perfect answer. So get text.
Sir,
We
after doing that, can you see my app also?
of course, dear. Version, and then what are the names of different languages in which we can get the text converted? So when if you'll hit this drop down, you'll be able to see a list of items over here. So these are the various languages you can add here in the options part of this drop down. So I've added only these languages. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are only 6 languages which I've added. If you want to add more, how you can do that? What you have to do? You need to select, suppose you want to add this language. So just select this language, and from here you can copy it like this. Control
Yes.
you have to press for copying it. Come on the designing part, and here you can add it like this. Fine. Now let's come back on this coding part, and
Sir, we only have to copy the text, or we have to copy the double inverted commas
no,
also.
you don't have to copy the double inverted commas because we are getting the
Okay.
options. We are getting these options in the form of a text, no? Using this get text
Yes.
button. So that's the reason you don't need to put double inverted commas. So I am going to copy this code and put it over here. What is the idea of this component? It is language, L in capital. Fine. And now let's delete the records. Okay, instead of deleting the records, let's do one thing.
Sir, I am also doing with you because I have already made the app and I am doing the changes with you.
Okay, dear. And how is it looking on mobile? Is it looking good or excellent?
Sir, it was looking excellent.
It was looking excellent. Just because of the color theme that I used, right? Maybe because. So
Yes,
now
sir.
let's select this one. Image and Abhinav.
Sir, I'm
Abhinav.
all the design you made. I liked it, so I have used the same design.
Created.
Okay, Vita, thank you. Let's hit this button, and the profile is also visible to us, the ID is also visible to us, and the IDs of all the 3 people are getting reflected in this drop down. Let's create one more profile over here to whom we can send the message. So I'm going to use this one, neeta@gmail.com and neeta123.
.com. Your account has been successfully created.
Okay, so Neeta's account has also got successfully created. Now let's hit this button and see whether, yeah, the pic is also visible to us. The ID is also getting reflected over here, and all the
Sir,
4
but
IDs are
there's
here.
a problem.
Yes, dear. What is the problem?
Sir, in code.org, we cannot exceed the limit of 10 tables.
Is it so?
Yes, sir. So
I will check it.
if we'll do it do it publish, then if
Actually,
other
Lavanya,
people.
they guys are actually updating this platform code.org. So I think in
Okay.
maybe in next 6 months, this platform will be fully upgraded, and we will be able to, make use of all the facilities, all the good facilities they are
Yes.
customizing this platform with. Fine. So by the time we can at least learn these innovative things. So now let's do one thing. Let's make use of this Abhinav's ID and send a message to Neeta. Hi Neeta, how are you?
You doing?
Applab@gmail.com. Your message was sent successfully to Nita@gmail.com.
Okay, now let's see whether Nita will be able to receive this message or not. So who has sent the message to Nita? It was Abhinav, right? So we need to select Abhinav from this drop down.
Hi Nita. How are you doing?
Okay, if you want to select the language, we can make use of this drop down, and then let's select a male version.
Hi Nita, how are you doing?
Okay, yes, notice the changes. See,
Yes.
change it to Portuguese, and
Hi Nita, how are you doing?
I'm checking whether the anything else need to be added to this coding part or not.
No, sir. Everything is perfect.
Everything is perfectly fine.
Pink.
Okay, I am ending this meeting for now.